He knew about you, or you knew about Cassie?
Okay, we are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman. I'm the editor-in-chief of Films Gone Wild. We're doing interviews at Dances with Films New York. We're at the Regal Union Square. And right now I've got two midnight shorts, which I'm a big fan of. And so we're going to get into it with these guys. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi there, thank you for having us, John. I'm MP Hayes, the director of Knife Man.
Hello, my name is Brett, and I am a producer and co-writer alongside MP on Knife Man.
Hello everybody, my name is Thomas Hindi and I'm the writer, director, and sound designer of Mimic.
And you also did craft services.
Yes.
Okay.
And I sing and dance as well.
All right. Our audience is likely have not seen the films as yet, so introduce us to Mimic.
Yes, so Mimic follows a working mom, gets home from work, and she discovers that her family is missing. And then in the house, she discovers the creature behind their disappearance. And she learns that it's pretty terrifying as it kind of learns to mimic humanity.
And Knife Man.
With Knife Man, we follow a pretty simple pitch. What if a serial killer fully believed himself to be a Power Ranger?
Exactly. Okay, and we'll start with Knife Man, since you're holding the mic right now. Let's talk about and we talked about before the interview started about the juxtaposition of the worlds that we're dealing with, and the challenge of putting them together and mixing them, which is the whole fun of the film. Yeah. But it's also the hurdle you got to achieve.
Absolutely.
So talk about that. Talk about the pitfalls you were trying to make sure you skipped over.
We wanted to make sure that they were as distinct as possible visually, so what we did is that we shot on two different sets of lenses. We had anamorphic lenses in the reality to create kind of a distortion effect. And we had two separate production designers, one for the reality and one for the fantasy.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. We kind of split them up to be, we approached them like we were shooting two separate films that happened to collide, and I think that really worked out.
One way we actually went about that is that we actually shot the two segments in two different weekends. Mm-hmm. So we had a full reality section and then a full fantasy section like that. And the two production designers, I mean, they were coordinated together when they needed to be, but primarily it was just, you focus on this, you focus on that. And that's ended up being a really great way for them to prioritize the different mindsets. So for example, the person who's handling the fantasy had to know, Elena Mita, great production designer we ended up meeting in Los Angeles. She focused on the actual psychology of Knife Man, and that if he is truly going to believe himself to be a sincere Power Ranger, then we have to do what we can to make sure that the fantasy looks as much like a 1960s tokusatsu Power Rangers flick as possible in order to capture that authentic feeling of being a crazy person who believes you're trapped in a piece of media.
I love the idea that you actually could have pit those two against each other. You know, her shit looks really good. I don't know what you're doing, and this stuff is awesome. That just seems like a fun little battle royale within the set. Okay, let's go to Mimic here. And one of the things that I've complimented you on a few times is again, the economy of what you're doing, and yet still achieving great scare, achieving great dread, and it harkens back to the fucking Val Lewton type of thing, you show little, but what you show is what you want, right? So obviously some of it is just by necessity, but talk about the design of it.
Yes, thank you, John. So yeah, the design was really interesting. Because like you said, we really didn't have money, and so, but big ambitions. I wanted to make a full practical creature. That's the stuff that inspires me. So what we did is I just used the people I knew. There was an incredible makeup artist local in the Tallahassee area. Her name was Jordan Bevington. We got her on board. She did all like the body painting stuff because our plan was to body paint my childhood friend who plays the Mimic and cover him in this kind of gray layered skin style paint. And then for the mask itself, I actually reached out to my prior high school ceramics teacher because I researched the hell out of how to make a monster, and what I found is that the principles were congruent with ceramics, like with the molding, the casting, the sculpting. So I reached out to him, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. could I make it a class project? And I was like, of course, like, you're doing it for free, like, 100%. So his students got involved and got creative with it too. And so I think it was great because it was able to help him and his class, like, inspire his students to be creative. So really full circle moment.
I will say also one moment that, you know, I was actually I've been talking to a friend of mine who's also a huge genre fan, and I said, you know something, it is like you almost have to be a fuck up not to be able to pull off the wonderful thing of seeing feet and legs being dragged into a room away from you and not scare the shit out of it. And you know, and you execute it perfectly, and you go, and again you go, it's like, talked about economy, it's like, that's all you need to do, and we're going, that's not good, right there, that's not good.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, you know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Jaws, and you know, 90% of the movie you don't see the shark, so, you know, what you don't see is always scarier than what you do see. So yeah,
Right.
and it's cheap, so that's great.
All right, I would just brag on you guys' movies constantly, but what I want to do one question that I doubt you're going to get, and that is, and I love always talking for people that do genre stuff or that love genre stuff, and it's like the first movie that legit scared the shit out of you. And now, and I'll start it off where you guys think about this. But mine is incredibly embarrassing because mine is Son of the Blob. Not the original, not the Blob, but the sequel is directed by Larry Hagman, the only film he ever directed, and for good reason. But I was a kid, and you know, and it got me in the moment because you know, as kids, you think logically, and you go, well, I can run away from Frankenstein because he's slow, right? And there are rules and regulations for vampires and werewolves. But the Blob, you can freeze it, but it'll eventually thaw out, and it can get under anything, right? And so as a kid, you're going, this thing is inescapable. It's the scariest damn thing ever. But the movie is so fucking embarrassing.
My dad always said it was the scariest movie ever, The Blob, exactly for that reason.
All right, so you're up first. The first one that really legit scared the crap out of you.
That's a really good question. The first movie that genuinely scared the crap out of me actually was not a horror movie. It was Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And I was like, you know, probably 10 years old, roughly, and it was Smeagol, it was Gollum. Like, when he attacks Frodo and Sam, I just remember, like, seeing him in silhouette with the kind of piercing white of his eyes. I was genuinely freaked out, and probably freaked out because he is kind of like a humanoid. You know, he seems kind of more real than like maybe a creature would. So that was the first time I like didn't sleep for weeks. So well done, Peter Jackson and Andy Serkis. That was great.
All right, yeah.
A big part of where my love of genre filmmaking and horror, all of this comes from, is because my dad was a huge influence on my taste in film. He showed me a bunch of movies I should not have watched at the age I was. And so I remember one of the big ones, and this is funny enough, it's because I was a big dinosaur kid. It's where my love of Godzilla eventually comes from. When I was 4 years old, my dad gave me a box set that was Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3. And so when I first sat down and I watched Jurassic Park 1, the raptors in the kitchen, I remember very vividly was some of the scariest stuff I'd ever seen. Because truly, they were kids stuck in a kitchen. And the fact that Steven Spielberg was able to make, and Stan Winston, ILM, the whole team there, was able to make dinosaurs real at that moment and throughout that film, really left a lasting imprint on me and led me to trying to go down this practical route of monster making, that you can make anything feel real if you give a real tactile feel to it. And it just scared the ever-living crap out of me.
Wow, we get two unusual choices. Next.
Oh, wait till we get ready for mine. There's a 2000s animated children's film called Meet the Robinsons.
Oh my god.
And,
What?
Yeah, I know. And when I was a kid, there's a sequence in which like these evil bowler hats take over the world, and for some reason I came out of that film and I was sitting at Applebee's with my mom, and I'd never been that scared in my entire life. And that has haunted me to this day. And yeah, I don't know why, but I think that's how I got into horror.
Oddly enough, this is very telling about Knife Man. Oddly enough, I think I can connect the dots there.
It all comes from Meet the Robinsons.
Like many things.
Yeah.
Many things in life.
Well, this is great, guys. I mean, I'm hoping that you know the both your films make it to other fests that I do, so I can introduce you guys to other people. Again, the films are Knife Man and Mimic, screening at Dances with Films New York. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.